The Holy Roman Empire was a highly decentralized state for most of its history, composed of hundreds of smaller states, most of which operated with some degree of independent sovereignty, although in the earlier part of the Middle Ages, under the Salian and Hohenstaufen emperors, it was relatively centralized. As time went on, the emperor lost more and more power to the princes. The membership of the Imperial Diet in 1792, late in the empire's history but before the beginning of the French Revolutionary Wars, gives some insight as to the composition of the Holy Roman Empire at the time. Structure of the Diet of the Holy Roman Empire in 1792. The year 1792 was just before the vast changes inspired by the French revolutionary incursions into Germany. The empire was, at that time, divided into several thousand immediate territories, but only about 300 of these had Landhoheit, and had representation in the Imperial Diet of the Holy Roman Empire. The Imperial Diet was divided into three so-called collegia: the Council of Electors, the Council of Princes, and the Council of Cities. As those who received votes had gradually changed over the centuries, many princes held more than one vote. Certain territories which had once held votes in the Diet, as for instance the County of Waldeck or the Duchy of Jülich-Kleve, no longer retained them, due to the extinction of a dynasty or other causes. The Council of Electors. The council included the following 8 members: the King of Bohemia, the Archbishop of Mainz, the Archbishop of Trier, the Archbishop of Cologne, the Count Palatine of the Rhine, the Duke of Saxony, the Margrave of Brandenburg, the Duke of Brunswick-Luneburg. The Council of Princes. This is ordered based on the official order of voting in the Diet: the Archduke of Austria, the Duke of Burgundy, the Ecclesiastical Bench, the Archbishop of Salzburg, the Archbishop of Besançon, the Grand Master of the Teutonic Order, the Bishop of Bamberg, the Bishop of Wurzburg, the Bishop of Worms, the Bishop of Eichstätt, the Bishop of Speyer, the Bishop of Strasbourg, the Bishop of Constance, the Bishop of Augsburg, the Bishop of Hildesheim, the Bishop of Paderborn, the Bishop of Freising, the Bishop of Regensburg, the Bishop of Passau, the Bishop of Trent, the Bishop of Brixen, the Bishop of Basel, the Bishop of Munster, the Bishop of Osnabrück, the Bishop of Liege, the Bishop of Lübeck, the Bishop of Chur, the Bishop of Fulda, the Abbot of Kempten, the Provost of Ellwangen, the Grand Master of the Order of St. John, the Prior of Berchtesgaden, the Provost of Weissenberg, the Abbot of Prum, the Abbot of Stablo, the Abbot of Corvey. A single vote for the College of the Prelates of Swabia, see below. A single vote for the College of the Prelates of the Rhine, see below. These last two were groups of lesser abbots, who together had a joint vote. Unlike those who had a full vote, they were not considered fully sovereign. The secular bench: the Duke of Bavaria, the Duke of Magdeburg, the Count Palatine of Kaiserslautern, the Count Palatine of Simmen, the Count Palatine of Neuburg, the Duke of Bremen, the Duke of Zweibrücken, the Count Palatine of Veldenz, the Duke of Saxe-Weimar, the Duke of Saxe-Eisenach, the Duke of Saxe-Coburg. 2 branches of the Wettin family split this vote: Ernest Frederick of Saxe-Coburg, Saalfeld, George I of Saxe-Meiningen, the Duke of Saxe-Gotha, the Duke of Saxe-Altenburg, the Margrave of Brandenburg-Ansbach, the Margrave of Brandenburg-Bayreuth, the Duke of Brunswick-Selle, the Duke of Brunswick-Kallenberg, the Duke of Brunswick-Grubenhagen, the Duke of Brunswick-Wolfenbüttel, the Prince of Halberstadt, the Duke of Farther Pomerania, the Duke of Upper Pomerania, the Duke of Mecklenburg-Schwerin, the Duke of Mecklenburg-Güstrow, the Duke of Württemberg, the Landgrave of Hesse-Kassel, the Landgrave of Hesse-Darmstadt, the Margrave of Baden-Baden, the Margrave of Baden-Durlach, the Prince of Verden, the Margrave of Baden-Hochburg, the Duke of Holstein, the Duke of Saxe-Lauenburg, the Prince of Minden, the Duke of Holstein-Gottorp-Oldenburg, the Duke of Savoy, the Landgrave of Leuchtenberg, the Prince of Anhalt. The four branches split the vote: Frederick Augustus of Anhalt-Zerbst, Leopold III of Anhalt-Dessau, Frederick Albert of Anhalt-Bernburg, August Christian of Anhalt-Cothern, the princely Count of Henneberg. This vote was divided among the various branches of the House of Wettin: Frederick Augustus III of the Electorate of Saxony, Karl August of Saxe-Weimar, Eisenach Ernest II of Saxe-Gotha-Altenburg, George I of Saxe-Meiningen and Frederick of Saxe-Hildburghausen, Ernst Friedrich of Saxe-Coburg, Saalfeld, the Prince of Schwerin, the Prince of Kamin, the Prince of Ratzeburg, the Prince of Hesfeld, the Prince of Nomeny, the Prince of Montpellier, the Duke of Arenberg, the Prince of Hohenzollern-Hechingen, the Prince of Lockwitz, the Prince of Somme. There were two branches of this family who split the vote: Constantine Alexander of Somme, Frederick III of Somme-Kierberg, the Prince of Dietrichstein, the Prince of Nassau-Hadamar, the Prince of Nassau-Dillenburg, the Prince of Augsburg, the Prince of East Frisia, the Prince of Fürstenberg, the Prince of Schwarzenberg, the Prince of Liechtenstein, the Prince of Thurn und Taxis, the Prince of Schwarzburg. There were two branches of this family who split the vote: Christian Gunther III of Schwarzburg-Sondershausen, Frederick Charles of Schwarzburg-Rudolstadt. A single vote for the College of the Counts of Swabia, see below. A single vote for the College of the Counts of the Wetterau, see below. A single vote for the College of the Counts of Franconia, see below. A single vote for the College of the Counts of Westphalia, see below. The Council of Cities. The Council of Imperial Free Cities was theoretically equal to the others, but in actuality it was never allowed to cast a deciding vote, and in practice its vote was only advisory. In 1792, there were 51 free cities, divided amongst two benches: Rhenish bench: Cologne, Aachen, Lübeck, Worms, Speyer, Frankfurt am Main, Goslar, Bremen, Hamburg, Mühlhausen, Nordhausen, Dortmund, Friedberg, Wetzlar. Swabian bench: Regensburg, Augsburg, Nuremberg, Ulm, Esslingen am Neckar, Reutlingen, Nordlingen, Rothenburg ob der Tauber, Schwabisch Hall, Rottweil, Überlingen, Heilbronn, Schwabisch Gmund, Memmingen, Lindau, Dinkelsbühl, Biberach, Ravensburg, Schweinfurt, Kempten, Windsheim, Kaubrin, Weil, Wangen, Isny, Fullendorf, Offenburg, Leutkirch, Wimpfen, Weissenberg im Nordgau, Jengen, Gengenbach, Zellem-Hammersbach, Buckhorn, Ullen, Buckau, Boffingen. Membership of single-vote colleges. The two benches of the Council of Princes each contain single-vote colleges. The membership of each of these was as follows: the prelates of Swabia, the abbess of Baint, the abbot of Elchingen, the abbot of Gengenbach, the abbess of Gartenzoll, the abbess of Hegbach, the abbess of Ursee, the abbot of Kaisheim, the abbot of Marchtel, the abbot of Neresheim, the abbot of Ochsenhausen, the abbot of Petershausen, the abbot of Roggenburg, the abbot of Rott, the abbot of Rottenmunster, the abbot of Salmonsweiler, the abbot of Schuss-Onried, the abbess of Soflingen, the abbot of Erzberg, the abbot of Weingarten, the abbot of Weissenau, the abbot of Wettenhausen, the abbot of Zweifelten, the prelates of the Rhine, the abbot of Bruxelles and Odenheim, the abbess of Buckau, the abbot of Burtscheid, the abbot of Balai of Koblenz, the abbot of St. Cornelis Munster, the abbot of Balai of Alsace and Burgundy, the abbess of Esten, the abbess of Gandersheim, the abbot of St. Georg in Isny, the abbess of Gernrode, the abbess of Herford, the abbess of Niedermunster in Regensburg, the abbess of Obermunster in Regensburg, the abbess of Quedlinburg, the Abbess of Thorn, the Abbot of St. Ulrich and St. Afra in Augsburg, the Abbot of Verden, the Counts of the Wetterau, the Princes and Counts of Solms, the Prince of Nassau-Usingen, the Prince of Nassau-Weilburg, the Prince of Nassau-Saarbrücken, the Princes and Counts of Eisenberg, the Counts of Stolberg, the Princes and Counts of Sayn-Wittgenstein, the Counts of Somme, the Princes and Counts of Leiningen, the Counts of Westerberg, the Counts of Wettertagerfelden, the Counts of Hoyos, the Counts of Schonberg, the Count of Wiedrunkel, the Counts of Ortenburg, the Counts of Reuss-zu-Plauen, the Counts of Swabia, the Prince of Fürstenberg, the Abbess of Buckau, the Commander of the Teutonic Knights, the Prince of Oengen, the Count of Montfort, the Count of Helfenstein, the Prince of Schwarzenberg, the Count of Königsegg, the Count of Warburg, the Count of Eberstein, the Count von der Leyen, the Counts of Fugger, the Lord of Hohenems, the Count of Traun, the Prince Abbot of St. Lars, the Count of Stadion, the Prince of Thurn-und-Taxis, the Count of Wettertagerfelden in Bondorf, the Count of Kievenhalle, the Count of Kufstein, the Prince of Colorado, the Count of Harrach, the Count of Sternberg, the Count of Nieperg, the Counts of Franconia, the Princes and Counts of Hohenlohe, the Counts of Castell, the Counts of Erbach, the Counts of Rothenburg, the Princes and Counts of Lowenstein-Wertheim, the heirs to the Counts of Limburg, the Counts of Neustadt-Rheineck, the Prince of Schwarzenberg, the heirs to the Counts of Wolfstein, the Counts of Schönborn, the Counts of Windisch-Gratz, the Counts Orsini von Rosenberg, the Counts of Starhemberg, the Counts of Wurmbrand, the Counts of Jeck, the Counts of Gravenitz, the Counts of Puckela, the Counts of Westphalia, the Lord of Sinaltenkirchen, the Count of Hoyer, the Count of Spiegelberg, the Count of Diepholz, the Duke of Holstein-Gottorp, the Count of Tecklenburg, the Duke of Arenberg, the Prince of Wiedrunkel, the Prince of Wied-Neuwied, the Count of Schaumburg, the Counts of Leip, the Counts of Bentheim, the Princes and Counts of Lowenstein-Wertheim, the Prince of Kaunitz-Rietberg, the Prince of Waldeck and Piemont, the Count of Toering, the Count of Aspremont, the Prince of Somme, the Count of Metternich-Winnemberg, the Prince of Anhalt-Bernburg-Schaumburg, the Counts of Plettenberg, the Counts of Limburg-Stirum, the Count of Walmoden, the Count of Quart, the Counts of Ostein, the Counts of Nesselrode, the Counts of Somme-Reifescheidet, the Counts of Platen, the Counts of Sinsendorf, the Prince of Lein,